What a fantastic start to the week if you're a Hammers fan, because West Ham United have completed the double signing of Germany striker Nicalas Füllkrug as well as Argentinian central midfielder Guido Rodriguez. That's according to Plettenberg. He's the one reporting it. That's all signed, sealed, delivered, and we're just waiting for the announcements now. I think Fullkrug will come today, Monday. I'm quite confident we'll get that one. We might have to wait till tomorrow for Rodriguez though, because the West Ham's media department, their job is engagement. They've got to drive retweets, likes, whatever else happens on social media. That's their job, to drive engagement. And the best way to do that is to announce them separately. Maybe we'll get a rare double announcement. Doesn't happen in football too often, does it? But I'd be surprised. But I'm confident we'll get Füllkrug on Monday. And that's the transfer I'm going to discuss and focus on, because I don't know enough about Rodriguez. I'm excited by the signing because of what people have told me about him. I'm excited to discover him for myself. But despite all that hopefulness, I'm still not sure what's going to happen. Is he coming in to replace Alvarez, to play next to Alvarez? I don't really know. I don't have a strong opinion yet, and I'm looking forward to forming one. Whereas Fullkrug, I have a strong opinion on him. Now, I've had to warm to this transfer. Not so much warm to it as in, he might be a good option. I like the player. I've liked the player before rumours. But because of the rumours, I've had to, I say warm to transfer, maybe begin to believe it. There's some people that watch our videos that will say, I won't believe anything until they're holding up the shirt, which is fine. I understand that. I've never been like that, because I think before they hold up the shirt, there's layers of transfer rumours, isn't there? There's interested in FC, might bid for, have made a bid but it's a bit too low. All this advanced talks, there's all these different layers. But there gets to a point where the player is not announced, but you know he's signed. That's where Füllkrug is today, right now. West Ham haven't announced him, but I feel confident that we've signed him. However, for this transfer, I'll wait till he's holding up the shirt, because I've been tricked a little bit. A week ago, when this rumour came out, sat here with Gonzo. No, don't believe it. It's a ploy. We're trying to force Aston Villa's hand. Now, that might still have been true. We might have been trying to force Villa's hand. Füllkrug might have just been a second choice, and just a case of let's get that ball rolling. And if Villa don't flinch, we'll sign him. And if they do flinch, happy days. And then I started to believe it. And then it came out it was a little bit of a ploy. And I've been tricked, and I knew it was a trick. And then apparently the medical was booked. I was a bit reluctant. I thought, hang on a minute, I've fallen for this once, I won't fall for it twice. Well, that stubbornness has led me to not get my hopes up a little bit. But he's a West Ham United player now. So now I can talk about him as a Hammer and what this means, because I like the player and I kind of like the transfer. And it kind of depends on the fee. It's been reported by Plettenberg it's up to 25 million, but Express employees said it's not that much. So there's a discrepancy in reporting. So I'm going to move that to one side. I think 15 million is a fair fee. I think over 20 million gets a bit chunky for West Ham, and in between it's a good deal for Dortmund, but we haven't been ripped off. If we paid 18 million, I think it's okay. We've not been ripped off. Anything less than 15, we've had their pants down, but I'm quite confident it ain't that price. My guess would be it's 20 million or something. I'm just guessing, pure speculation there, though. Roughly 20 million. In terms of the player, what he has done though has made me not want Duran. We'll get on to that. I do not want to see Duran at West Ham now. But let's start with the positivity, because I am looking forward to this transfer and I'm quite confident it will be a relative success. He's a good player. His hold-up play is really good. His passing's really good. He's fantastic in the area. He's very hard-working. He ticks all the boxes. The only thing he's lacking, the only two things he's lacking, one is the pace. If you want that speedy striker, you're not going to get that. But I think his movement makes up for it. And then his age. Now, when I say age, I don't say age as in regards to his ability and he's going to de-appreciate and become a crap striker. I don't think that's the case here. Just purely on resale value, you ain't getting any money for him. You might be able to sell him for a few million in a couple of seasons time. It's unlikely. I wouldn't be surprised if we are his last top flight club. He may go somewhere else after us. He might drop into the second division Bundesliga, but I would not be surprised if West Ham's his last top flight club. And I'm quite confident he will be a success over the next couple of seasons. I'm quite hopeful he will be a success as well. So that's the sort of negative parts of the transfer deal. But in terms of the positives, in terms of his playing ability, and this is where I don't think age will have too much of an impact. He doesn't rely on pace. Michail Antonio last week spoke about how he has lost a yard of pace. He's a bit slower. So he's going to have to adapt his game a little. I think he already has, but he's going to have to change the way he plays slightly because of what he used to rely on. He can't do it anymore. Fullkrug never relied on speed, so he doesn't have to alter his game. And because of the type of striker he is, I think usually they can play well into their 30s. Look at Giroud, for example. Well, I don't know how old he is now, 38, 39 or something. Bloody good for 38 anyway, but he's in his latter 30s and he's fine. He's doing fine because of the profile he is. And I think that's applicable to Füllkrug. And he will be measured on goals. Naturally, as a striker, you're going to say, well, what are you going to give us? How many times are you going to put that ball in the back of the net? But I think he can be valued in a completely different way at West Ham, and we can judge him differently other than just goal scoring. Of course you want goals from your striker. I'm not saying that's not important, right? If in the season he's only scored 3, I'll be disappointed. I'm quite confident he'll hit double figures, but I'm also quite confident he won't hit 20, right? It'll be, I don't know, 14, 15, 16 goals, somewhere in there is what I expect Fullkrug to score next season. However, one thing I think has been underappreciated when I've seen subscribers' comments and stuff is his general all-round play and bringing others into play and his assists. He's usually quite good at setting others up, and I do think, I've said it last week, I'll say it again, I do think the attacking players that will be playing behind him, Somerville, Paqueta, Kudus-Bowen, whoever it is, maybe not so much Paqueta because of his style, but Kudus-Bowen and Somerville especially, I think they'll really benefit from having Füllkrug as striker, and I think Michail Antonio will as well. Antonio is going to have to adapt again because of the arrival of Füllkrug. He may see himself played out wide in a few games. If we're chasing a goal, he might come on and play alongside him, whatever. But I think occasionally we will see Antonio on the pitch at the same time as Füllkrug. And I think it could work. I think it could work really well. Danny Ings needs a strike partner. I don't think we will see that combination much. It might work for Danny Ings as well, having Füllkrug there. So I think he's a player that can come in and make those around him better just because of how he plays as a striker. I'm looking forward to this one. I don't mind short-term signings. I don't. I would prefer us to sign younger players that we can look to sell on. It's about balance. What Füllkrug does, though, is that next summer when Danny Ings' contract's up, when Michail Antonio's contract's up, it allows Steidten to go get a younger profile player, because we've already got the guy for today. Now let's go sign a striker for tomorrow. I think that's what Füllkrug is. Now, the domino effect, as always, is, well, what happens with Julen? There is a lot of talk that we're still going to go after him. I don't want him anymore. I did previously. I did want John Julen. I like to think I was sat here saying, yeah, get him in, good striker. I would love to see Julen at West Ham. I wanted him before he was linked to us. I don't want him anymore. And the reason being, it's sort of risk and reward. And I guess that's Füllkrug, isn't it? What's the risk? I don't think there's much, to be honest with you. In terms of his attitude, his work ethic, it's absolutely fantastic. It's up there, which was the risk with Julen to some extent. But the commitment you're going to get for Füllkrug and stuff, I think his transfer will be a success. I think it's almost guaranteed to be a success. The ceiling isn't as great as Julen's, because I think Julen could go on and become a superstar, a world-class player. But with Füllkrug, I don't think he's not got that potential anymore. He's going to be a strong Premier League striker, and that's what I think he was in Germany. I think he had a fantastic Champions League campaign. I think he had a strong Euros. I think his Bundesliga campaign was okay. It was decent. It wasn't anything to write home about, and I think that's what we're going to get. But with Julen, it was all about the risk. Get it right, could be a superstar. Get it wrong, it could cause chaos. But the reason I don't want Julen is because the risk of signing Julen anyway, without anybody else, was his commitment, his attitude. We've seen it with Aston Villa. He was literally on Instagram doing the crossed hammers, right? That's just not great. I wouldn't be happy with it if one of our players was doing it. It's nice and it's funny when you're trying to buy him, but when it's one of your... I mean, that must really rub the Villa fans up the wrong way, and he's certainly done that. But if he was to come here, he would have to be the main man. And I think that's the main reason he wanted to come to West Ham. Be the striker. Be our first choice striker. And without that guarantee, I don't want him here. I don't want him to come in and compete with Füllkrug and Antonio to be the main striker at West Ham United. There was already risk with Julen. I just feel like the risk has gone through the roof now. success with Fullkrug is guaranteed to some extent, in my opinion. With Julen, I think chaos was almost likely. I think it's almost guaranteed now if you were to go get him. I don't think it would be a good move for him. I don't think he should come to West Ham anymore. I think we were a good club for him. But with the signing of Füllkrug, I think literally just like that, we've become a not so desirable choice, because I think Füllkrug would keep him out of the team. And you know what? I think Antonio would compete with him as well. And this is an opinion I had previous to signing Füllkrug. I said Julen will come in, but there will be some games where I think Antonio will start ahead of him just because of form, for whatever reason. I think Antonio will get back in the team for some games. Julen would just be too risky for me, and he's still really expensive. Towards the end of the window, Villa may cut the price a little bit to get him off the books and get him out of the club. That becomes a different conversation, but I think the risk remains the same whether you're paying 20 million or 40 million. I still think what you get, which is a player that has to play week in, week out, or he's unhappy. This is a player that didn't accept or couldn't accept being second choice to Ollie Watkins, who in my opinion was the best striker in the Premier League last season. He wasn't happy being back up to the best striker in the Premier League. Now I like that confidence and that arrogance and that determination to play football. That is good. The way he went about it, not so good. And at West Ham, he doesn't solve it. That problem he's got would remain at the London Stadium because we've signed Nicalas Fullkrug. So I'm happy with the signing of Nicalas Fullkrug, but it's completely put me off the potential signing of John Julen. I'm not sure we need another striker now. I think the budget must be surely it's pretty skinny by now. I'd rather the funds and the focus went on right back and centre back if there's some leftover lolly to get somebody else in. Julen, not for me. On loan maybe, but that risk would still be there. Anyway, forget talking about Julen. Nicalas Füllkrug, new West Ham United striker for 25 million-ish, 3-year contract, option for one more. We've got a classic number 9 at West Ham. They haven't worked out in the past, however. Different head coach in charge now, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think Bowen is going to thrive playing next to Fullkrug. I'm looking forward to it. Right then, I'm going to disappear. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to Hammers Chat, and catch up with you tomorrow.